never said no, that we weren't going to be.
Where are you and Kody right now?
Kody and I are divorced.
I don't see why giving up is an option when you haven't actually tried.
She made a choice that she was never going to have a functioning marriage.
Did she ever hear you say, I don't want you to leave?
No.
Hardest time of my life.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's basically been like 1 day, 2 days since the episode of Sister Wives where we found out that Christine left Kody. We already knew Christine left Kody, but it was the episode where we find out why they split up, and Kody was really surprised, dumbfounded that Christine finally left him.
I've had times past where she's said something. I didn't feel like she was serious. I don't know. I don't know what it all means.
I don't know what the future looks like. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't know what next week looks like. I don't know.
Now comes the reports of all the people coming out of the woodwork talking about other people leaving and Kody potentially taking on new wives. So I would be remiss if I ignored all of the chatter that's happening out on the interwebs, and I can't say that I have anything brand new to offer to you because, listen, I haven't spoken to any of these sources, but new reports by Us Weekly and In Touch seem to suggest, actually they've been mostly from Us Weekly, seem to suggest that Kody Brown might be considering taking on new wives and getting rid of the old ones. And Janelle might be completely out the door. Okay, so let's wind up and backtrack this a little bit. Okay, so a new report from Us Weekly says that Janelle Brown is actually strongly considering separating from Kody. So apparently, if you guys watched this past season, Janelle was talking to Robin about how COVID had basically exposed aspects of the marriage with Kody that made her realize and reevaluate whether or not she wanted to be in a polygamous marriage. And she has in the past left Kody. And so a source told Us Weekly that Janelle meant it when she said she would leave Kody. So apparently, if you remember the quote from the show, she said, I had to really think, my children are almost grown and there's not a huge necessity anymore to stay. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful way to raise children. With Kody and I right now, our relationship is pretty strained and, you know, it's easy to walk away. She said that she would have to continue to choose to stay there, which it would be easier for her to leave. But now that Christine has left, this is what the source told Us Weekly. She sees how happy Christine is now and she's free from Kody, and she's strongly considering separating from him too. Christine and Janelle are very close and they have conversations about it. So Christine and Janelle are leaning into each other, which doesn't surprise me. We actually saw this on the season where Janelle went over to Christine's house and was actually like talking with her about her frustrations with Kody. And being that they were in the exact same place, feeling the exact same things, they were kind of like there for each other. So that probably doesn't surprise me at all. And when I was looking at Janelle's Instagram, I noticed that this past holiday season, she was not with Kody at all. In fact, she was with her kids. In fact, she went to North Carolina to be with the East Coast kids. So she had Thanksgiving with Maddie and Hunter and Isabel. And then on Christmas, she had all the kids back at her place and she spent Christmas with her kids. And that was it. Like, she did not have Christmas with Kody. So she and Christine are also on the world selling Plexus, which the pink drink. But, you know, at least they're doing something together and working together. And I think the fact that she has continued to spend more and more time with Christine, and she's now launching this business with Christine, it's only going to further strengthen her resolve to leave. Because on the show this past season, she flat out has said that she was considering, or she would pick Christine often over Kody because they have the same beliefs and their kids love each other and that kind of thing. And knowing that their families really want to be together, I guess that doesn't really surprise me. So next up is another report that Kody might want to start fresh. So Another exclusive that came out of Us Weekly says that he is spending all of his time with Robin amid drama with Janelle and Mary. So apparently he's been spending all of his time with Robin, and they're in their own world, living their own lives. The other ladies are. So apparently over Christmas, Kody was only with Robin and not at all with the other ladies. So the insider says that he spent the holidays with Robin and her kids and didn't even try to make plans with the other wives. And all the other wives were very much separated for the holidays, spending time with their own families. So Janelle and Christine do their own things on Thanksgiving. Mary does her own thing on Thanksgiving and on Christmas. And he and Robin are only together by themselves. Not on top of all of that, that's also put a strain on Kody's relationships with his other kids. So apparently, because he spends all of his time with Robin and her kids, this is what the insider had to say. Kody's stepkids from Robin's first marriage worship him and are really close to him, unlike the others. He has really damaged his relationships with his other kids, and instead the kids are leaning on their moms and other siblings. So it's hard for them to separate the fact and see that he has clearly picked what feels like favorites and neglected them. He's damaging his relationships with his other kids by favoring the children that he has with Robin. Now, on top of that, they also claim that he would consider starting fresh by adding new wives. Like, this was the biggest one that I thought was like, this, he has got to be, they have to be kidding me, but you know, I guess, I don't know. So then a third report from an insider, and you know, I would trust Us Weekly because let's just be honest, Us Weekly has interviewed all of these people, and I'm assuming there's some sort of established relationship either with the family or someone close to them. And this is what they said, is that he's considering starting fresh by finding a new wife that will support him being devoted to Robin. This is the most ridiculous thought process I've ever heard, but he's apparently not happy with other wives threatening to leave him, and he's considering starting fresh with new wives. So he has grown tired of the other wives not understanding the fact that he wants to be devoted to Robin. So this is what they said. He wants to be with women who can accept the fact that he's most committed to Robin and devoting his time to her. So apparently he wants to find new wives who don't need time, and they'll just accept the fact that he's devoted to Robin, which doesn't make sense, because what will happen is if he brings in new partners, he's going to want to spend more time with them, thus bumping down the time that he has with Robin. And Robin would probably lose it because then her kids wouldn't get the attention that they need. I can't see anyone wanting to come into a relationship with Kody knowing that he wants to make Robin the favorite still. Like, you can come into the marriage, just know that I'm devoting all of my time and energy to Robin. So basically, because the other wives won't just suck up the fact that he needs to devote his time to his favorite wife, Robin, then they should just get out the door. I told you yesterday that it reminds me of a man, middle-aged, that wants to just get rid of the old wives and turn them in and bring in new wives. And that's exactly what I imagine happening here, which makes me wonder what could happen to the show. Like, if they were to go down this track, would they do a show with a spinoff with, like, say, Mary, Janelle, and Christine leaving him? Or would, I mean, I keep trying to imagine, like, what happens now after Christine leaves. Does Christine stay on the show since she's not actually a sister wife? Does she stay a part of this show in the fact that she still has kids with Kody, but she's not actually married to Kody? The show is called Sister Wives, and she's not a sister wife anymore. She's not. She left Kody. So she's an ex-wife. Now, Mary is an ex-wife, but still stays in the situation by not formally leaving him. And even though they're separated, they're not separated spiritually. Christine says that they're done. There's nothing. They're over. So will Christine stay on? And she's in a different state now. That makes filming more challenging. That part, like, could they do a spin-off where it's just the ladies? Do they even want to keep filming? That part is kind of like up in the air to me. And then if Kody were to bring on new wives, does anyone want to keep watching Kody dismantle and put women through hell like this? Like, I don't know in what brain, and this is just my opinion, obviously, what mindset you would be in that you would think that solving the problem in the situation would just to be bringing in other people. Like, you've already ruined and destroyed the lives of other people, in my opinion. And you've got kids that have hurt feelings and feel damaged and neglected. But you think that by bringing in someone that will just listen to you and bow down to you and not argue with you and go with you and be submissive to you and just accept that Robin's number one. That's the solution. Now, would Robin stay in first place? Like, what happens if Kody finds a new wife who's 25 and he starts having kids with her? Then what happens to Robin? She's 43. I mean, I'm 43 and I think I'm like such a spring chicken. But 25 to 43, there's, that's fresh meat. She could have a lot more kids. And if that's what Kody wants, that's what he could have. So, like, then what happens? Would it be that Robin just needs to accept that he wants to devote his time to 25-year-old or 23-year-old? I mean, what happens there? Then on top of that, there's the elephant in the room that in these polygamy sects, the really creepy aspect that can happen is that dads can actually marry their stepdaughters. But I'm hopeful in this case that won't happen because Kody actually adopted Robin's kids. So legally speaking, he has adopted the kids, so they're legally his own children. But in the AUB and the FLDS, it is not uncommon for a father to marry his stepdaughters at all, spiritually. It happens all the time. So I hope that's not another consideration that's going on in Kody's mind, because it's not far-fetched and it's really disturbing. So Kody, stay away from your stepdaughters. So Kody's response is to get new wives. Janelle is considering leaving. Mary's still hanging out with Robin. In fact, she was actually at Robin's house a couple days ago doing a Facebook Live or doing an Instagram Live with her. So Mary and Robin are still very much in touch, and she's still interloping with them. But where Janelle is at, I hope she actually does leave. I think Janelle I think she wouldn't have a problem leaving. I think she would be fine to leave. I think she would be successful leaving. I think she would be happier leaving. So hopefully her and Christine are having those amazing conversations. And Christine actually posted a really funny car confession yesterday where she was basically talking about getting out of her comfort zone and finding new things to do, which is how I'll end this tonight.
Confessions. So we travel a lot between Flagstaff and Salt Lake City, and we're just used to the road now. We know what gas stations we like, but yesterday I shook it up a little bit and I stopped at all of these new places instead. And oh my gosh, I met the most wonderful people yesterday that were just new. And I thought, how incredible is it when we get out of our comfort zones, how we get to just meet new people. So thank you for all of you wonderful people that I met yesterday.
So Janelle, will you take Christine's advice and get out of your comfort zone? I think you should. Now, what are your thoughts about all of this? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.